Howdy YouTube, and welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So today I'll be taking you guys through the paintwork on this E350 Mercedes Benz. The name of the colour is Iridium Silver or Argent Iridium, and the colour code is 775 as you see on the screen there. So this job is just basically painting down the side, and I also did a front bumper bar off this job as well. However, at this point, the bumper wasn't there, it was still getting repaired, that's what it was. The panel beater forgot to repair it, so as I was painting the body and down the side, he was repairing it. It got primed up the bumper got primed up that night, and I squeezed it in with another job the following day. So yeah, it's just a brand new door, brand new fender, and yeah, quarter panel and bumper bar, and all the little parts like petrol flaps, fuel flaps, yeah, the pop-up jets off the front bumper and all that. So yeah, obviously all the prep work has been done. Brand new door. All we do these days with a brand new door is just sand the outside down, make sure there's no imperfections on the insides, give it a wax and grease remover, and seal it straight over the top of that. Wet on wet primer is what we commonly call it here in Australia. Like I always used to scuff the insides of the doors in and out. But these days, yeah, like the paint reps keep telling me you don't need to, because the wet on wet will actually adhere to the inside of unsanded e-coats. So, yep, that works fine. And yeah, I'm just going off this line here in the door jamb here, because there was like ID tags inside the door jamb, so I'd rather not pull the rubbers off and then have to mask around the ID tags, because you shouldn't really pull them off. And yeah, I'd rather not mask over it. I'd rather just run off this line here with a bit of a false edge. I actually really like these cars. I've always liked Mercedes. I used to have a 69 Benz 220D. Yeah, so diesel model. Man, that thing looks awesome. And I actually haven't done like a general average spray painting video on this channel for quite some time. I've been doing, you know, just some different things on the channel. I found sometimes it just, I don't know, it gets a bit repetitive for me, like when I'm doing the same thing, but I just felt like sharing this video with you guys because I love the car and I may as well share the paint job I'm doing with it. And yeah, since I've like done a standard spray painting video, my methods have changed slightly, not a great deal. As you can see here, I'm just starting off by putting the wet on wet down, or non-sanding primer, sealer as they call it in the US. Yeah, just start by the outside. These days I always do the outsides first and then do the inside. Because I've found that like your own overspray can come out, land on the outside of the panel, and it's kind of like painting over a sandpit. That's the way I look at it anyway. But yeah, both ways do work, and like for years I always used to paint the inside first without like mega issues, but sometimes you'd paint the inside and go to the outside, and yeah, you would get like these tiny little sandpit type things in there, and then you'd like try and bury it with an extra wet coat of wet on wet or sealer, and then it'd just take a lot longer to dry and possibly lead to a bit of shrink back later down the down the track, because you've overloaded the material. So yeah, I'm sitting here watching myself doing this and I'm thinking, man, you know better than this. You shouldn't be doing this. I should have masked up the blend area on this quarter panel. I was hoping that I would be able to keep my overspray off it, however that overspray just travelled all over that quarter panel on my blend areas. End of the day, it wasn't a big deal because I was able to wipe it off with thinners, and this is what I've been doing lately. I just get a gun, whatever gun I'm using clear for, I'll just grab that with some thinners in it, so just base coat thinners, 2K thinners, whatever, and just spray that over the edge to help melt that the dry edge of the wet on wet in. Just so that your base coat lays down a lot nicer. And as I was doing this, I realised, damn, I've gone and got overspray all over that quarter panel, so I decided to keep spraying thinners all over that quarter panel, and then that would, you know, wet all that overspray back up, grab myself a brand new rag, as you see here, and just wiping that overspray off. So, you know, not a big deal, but, I mean, yeah, you're better off keeping it off there in the first place. So, like, most of the time I do put a piece of paper over there, and I should have done it in this instance. But yeah, look, you might be thinking, oh, the edge from where you've wiped to where you haven't wiped, you know, might be a raised section, but it's not the case. Just wipe it down. There's no need to scuff that edge in or anything, because it's going to be such a low profile, because it is literally just your overspray sitting there. So next up, I'm on the base coat stage. I've been using the HV25 for probably over the last 6 months. It was like late last year I started using this gun for base coat. I think it was like just I needed an extra gun, and this gun was sitting there with the HV25 on it, and I'm like, oh yeah, well I'll just use that because I was in a hurry and I needed to use it. And then I sprayed it and I'm like, man, this gun actually sprays the base coat really well, because previous to that I was using the Segola 4600 Extreme with the aqua cap on it, and the reason why I would never have really thought to use this for base coat is because developers themselves say that the HV25 is a clear coat cap. You know, it's like I did a review on this and it didn't really get a great review because I found the fan was a little bit too small, and it just, I don't know, it just took too many passes to get over the bonnet that I was painting. But for some reason I find it sprays the solvent base coat really nice. Like, it's not full HVLP, but it's not like your standard Transtech cap, so I find it's like it hits that happy medium for paint usage, and it gets the silvers down really nice. Sorry, drink a Coke there, guys. So yeah, the settings I've been using on this gun lately is full fan, full fluid for base coat, and around 20 psi. As you'll see later in this video, I'm going to have a little bit of mottle in the silver, but then I'll actually drop it right down to 1 bar, which is like 14.5 psi. So drop that pressure right down, hold the gun back, get it on nice and even, and just let the metallic, watch the mottle go away basically. I always like to get like at least sort of half the coat on the insides of the doors, as you can see here. You know, if this is your car and you go and change a speaker or something like that, you would hope to think that the person who painted it could at least put half a coat of silver on the inside of it, you know. But as you see here, I've actually I've got a couple of coats of silver down, and then I found a couple of little spots of stuff that had landed in the paint. So I did decide to give it like 10 minutes. I think from memory, like I started painting this before morning tea or something like that, and then I came back after morning tea to just make sure that that base coat was properly dry before I do go and start sanding into it. So yeah, a couple of big chunkers. Like, it's one of those things that if it was a darker colour, I mean, I may assess it and look at it and say, you know what, we'll get that out in the clear because you're not so likely to see them. But in silver, like whatever you see in your base coat, you will see when you put clear over it. So just a bit of 2000 grit, just keep it fine so that you're not going to go and scratch into that base coat too much. And you know, you have just put it down 10 or 15 minutes earlier, so if you go and get a piece of 800, it'll be really not soft, but yeah, just more susceptible sort of to the scratches. And you go and sometimes put your base coat down, you're like, god damn it, I always paint over 800, why isn't it working? It's because it's relatively fresh base coat. Obviously a quick tack rag down again, don't want to leave any dust on it, and then we'll reapply a couple of coats of colour and it should be right to clear. So since actually making this video here, I've been using a new gun and really enjoying it for clear coat. I just got it in recently, and it's the ANI F160 Silver. It's just cool to use a new gun that's like, it punches above its weight for its price for sure. Like, it's around 160 Australian dollars, so you can probably take 20 or 30 off that for US. Yeah, I've done a review on it recently, so that'll either be up already or not, because yeah, the way I do my videos, I schedule them. So, and I might just punch this out early, I don't know, put it in between the schedules, so it might not be up, or it might be up. Either way. I've actually been doing a lot of videos on my Raw channel lately, so be sure to go check that one out. There's a link in the description down below, and also always one at the end of each video to that Raw channel. So this is one of the things I have started changing up again. Like, I always used to use 599, the stabilizer, base coat stabilizer, to do my blends with, and then I was using all summer, like, geez, it must have been like 6 or 8 months or something, I was loving using the S, Chromax S. It's like an adhesion promoter, and it does sort of help fill in the sounding scratches. But I don't know, I stopped using it because, not because it's incompatible by any means. Like it's a great product, but it's like it stays a little bit sticky. It's not actual proper base coat, whereas it's base coat, you know. And sometimes you blend into it, and it's like your own overspray, sort of like a sandpit, as I was saying earlier in the video, with spraying the inside first and then going to the outside. It's like you would tack rag it, put your S down, and then it's like the overspray would sort of like stick to it a little bit, and when you go to clear it, yeah, it's kind of a little bit sandy, like, yeah, a little bit more dust in some of your jobs, I started noticing anyway. So I've gone back to this method anyway, and I find, yeah, both of them work well. This way is probably just a little bit cleaner. The end result's just a touch cleaner. But yeah, I smash the jobs out. Like, I don't know, I always work my ass off to get the jobs done as quick as possible for the boss, and you know, try and make them as much money as I can. At the end of the day, that's what I'm there for. And yeah, I love spray painting. I still get a kick out of it. Like, whenever we're quiet, I think it's really boring, you know. I like to be busy. I work better under pressure, I think. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure this is me dropping the pressure down a little bit, or that, no, I'm still running at 20 psi here, sorry. I've decided I'm doing this video in one take, no editing. No editing for the narration. So if I sit down here for a few minutes, so be it. And so I used to get real picky, and it got to the point where I wasn't even enjoying making my videos. And I actually think that, yeah, just doing this style with the camera on me, it's a bit more relaxed for me. And if I get something wrong, so be it. You know, I'm just gonna sit here and, like, cause I'm actually watching this video as we sit here as well. So I've never scripted my videos. The only video I've ever scripted is the regulators one, where I did that rap, which I thought was pretty funny. As you see there, I'm just blowing in between coats just to, like, just a bit of air over it, just to help flash it down, and make sure there isn't any mottle in there. And this will be where I've gone and down the pressure, gone and put that pressure down to 1.5 bar. Oh, sorry, to 1 bar. So it's like 14.5 psi, thereabouts. You can see that model, like, straight away, even on that quarter panel. It's just disappearing. It's just fading away. Awesome. I never used to drop the pressure right down like that, but the painter I work with, he's like, man, I've been just using really low pressure on my silvers for the last coat, and it gets rid of all the model. And I tried it, and I'm like, geez, he's actually quite right. He's definitely right. So onto our clear coat stage. Good old Vigilante, can't go wrong with that gun. So at the end of the day, that's just the Devilbus GTI Pro Light T20 air cap, 1.3mm settings, full fan, 2-bar pressure, and around 3.5 turns out, which is basically full fan. Like, if you feel the trigger on your gun, and there will become a point where you start winding it out, you can just keep turning it, but the trigger won't actually pull back any further. So it's around, I think, like 4.5 turns is when it, yeah, it'll stop actually pulling back any further. So effectively, you're at full fan at around 4 to 5 turns anyway. Sorry, at full fluid. Yeah, this is what we live for, eh? Smashing that clear on, mate. As far as overlaps goes, like, it's not something I really think about. Like, I just look at the paint, look at the gun, and sort of always try to get your eye in with the wet edge and just make it look right. Like, if a little bit needs a bit more because you've gone too much of not enough of an overlap, just go back over it or something like that. Just at the end of the day, just make sure the whole panel is wet and continue. That's what I do. Like, I'll spray the outside of the door and then I'll go around, like, do the rest of the car and then come back, do the inside of the door, because I've found only you need one coat on the insides anyway, and then just go do the outside of the door straight after you've done the inside, and then, yeah, go back around and clear the rest of the panels, walk out. So it is kind of like giving a little bit of flash off time, however not much. It's getting a little bit colder here in Perth. Winter's actually just started like a couple of days ago, as of me recording this video here. So yeah, I've actually been heating the clear up a little bit. I've actually got an old microwave from where I used to live. When I moved home, I decided to get a new microwave and took the old one into work just to whack the clear into. Like if I've got like an 800ml pot, depending on how cold the day itself is, you know, like my the temperature I'm looking for is like 30 to 35 degrees. You don't want to get it too much hotter than that, or it'll start actually going hard in the gun. But yeah, I've got like one of those little temp guns, thermometer infrared gun, so I can get an idea of how hot I need to get it, or how hot I am getting it. We're actually using Standox base coat, and some of the jobs we're using Challenger, but a job like this I just use the Standox clear on. You know, just for the average everyday panel jobs, you know, everyday drivers, they don't really warrant a full expensive clear. And yeah, I've been using Challenger lately. I'm actually really liking it, because Duke Zone, they recently changed their mixture, or they changed their supplier. It used to be, Duke Zone Plus used to be made here in Australia, and it was a great clear. Like, it was nice and fast, and you know, because as I said before, we try to get the jobs out as quick as possible, but they just changed the mix, and then, like, they changed it to a HS from an MS, and it just took forever to dry, and it just went on really, really poorly. You know, they actually started off by telling us that you can use the old Duke Zone Plus hardener with it, and that was just so right. Like, it does go hard, but it was absolute garbage to spray. So I just told them, no, give us a proper hardener. Even with the proper hardener, like, the main letdown really was the drying times. You know, like, you would paint a job, bake it, and then the next day go to polish it, and that's still really fresh. So in a panel shop environment, you kind of need a clear that's going to dry relatively fast, you know, because we need to turn the jobs over, yeah, pretty quick. But as far as clears go, actually, Spray Guns Direct have said they're going to be sending out some quartz. They've got some pretty good clears from what I hear. I've heard a few people review it, and Tony's Refinishing uses some of it, and he swears by it. So looking forward to get that in. I'll make sure I do a few reviews on it, or at least a few Instagram posts to let you know if it's any good. So go and follow us over there if you're not already. Join the fam, and yeah, sorry to any Facebook users, but I personally don't use Facebook anymore, so I've actually let my Gunman Facebook page go. I mean, it's still there, but I never look at it. I don't like the platform and the fact that they're selling data and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just at the point where it doesn't interest me using it, you know. Yeah, sure, I could benefit, like, the Gunman from it. I could probably get some more views if I shared my videos over there, but I'm not interested in it. I'm happy to use YouTube. I know Instagram is owned by the same Facebook Zuckerberg guy, but I don't mind Instagram. It's just less political, and it's just about photos. Share a photo, and that's enough for me. You also seem to get those heroes on Facebook that are just interested in getting into a fight with random people that they don't know, have never met, and for what? Like, what are you gaining out of that, you know? But yeah, that's about this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching it. Hang around for a couple of minutes and we'll have a look at the car when it's all back together. definitely a car I'd be happy to drive around. Absolutely. Yeah, like, I mean, I could probably afford one of these now if I really wanted to, but I'd rather pay my home off first, get ahead in life, than go and waste more money on cars. That's why I'm happy driving a little Corolla. I'm sure you guys have seen that in other videos, like the video where I cut and polished it, and yeah, it's a good looking little daily runabout, you know. But one day I'll get one of these for sure. Yeah, make sure you go and check out my website. Get yourself a hoodie. We've got t-shirts, yeah, drink coolers, all that kind of stuff. Cool merch, stickers, and all that kind of stuff. Support the show, mate. You know, can't hurt. And there's the car all done, back together, looking $1 million, and loving it. Hope you enjoyed watching. Until next time, get out there and paint some shit. Gunman out.